Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 21st August 2025, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which are very much relevant for your preparation. But before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the little template what we are going to follow in this video, what our approach would be while discussing these articles. First of all, we'll discuss the summary of the article. We will try to understand what is the crux of the article, what does this article wants to convey us. Then second, we'll look at the key points which are very much necessary for you to note down, because these are the points which can be asked in the exam via in the form of prelims question, or this data which I am giving you here may be helpful for you in framing the mains answer. So the key points. And then the third, we will look at the possible prelims or mains question which can be framed from the article. So these are the three important points. This is the approach what we are going to follow while discussing these articles. Now I guess you are ready for the discussion. Let's start our discussion by looking at the first article. As here you can see, it talks about India's democracy is failing the migrant citizens. So what is the issue here? The article here highlights few points which we need to understand. First, it highlights the issue of the SIR in Bihar. It starts with the issue of the SIR in Bihar, and it says that how it was the reason for the disenfranchisement of many migrant workers. So what is the issue here? Everybody, if you had followed the current affairs from last 1 to 2 months, you would be very much aware of what this SIR is. Or even if you don't had followed the news analysis, or you don't had read the newspapers, or you had not watched any YouTube videos with respect to your IAS preparation, but still you would be very much aware of what this SIR is, because it is continuously revolving in the news and everybody knows it. And we know that in this SIR, it is estimated that 6.5 million people were disenfranchised. That is, 6.5 million people lost their names from the electoral rolls. So it talks about that 6.5 million people lost their names from the electoral rolls. And the good thing about it is, which I guess is the bad thing, that out of these 6.5 million electors who lost their names from the electoral rolls, 3.5 are the migrant workers. So that is the issue. That means that because of this SIR which was conducted in Bihar, in this SIR, 6.5 million people lost their names from the electoral rolls, and out of this 6.5, 3.5 are the migrant workers only. And now this article talks about the issue of the migrant workers. They migrate for their basic necessities. Their state is not able to provide them the basic necessities. They are not able to feed their families at their home. They are not able to give them the basic necessities. So for that, they are forced to move away from their homeland. And on what basis? They are forced to move out of the land, move out from their homeland to go to the other states to work there for hours, for 10 to 15 hours every day. 10 to 15 hours, and at what cost? And eventually what is happening to them? They are losing their right to even participate in the democracy, because in the native state, when the Election Commission of India, when they when they have to add them on the electoral rolls, they will do the house to house verification for them. They will not find them there, and they will call them they are the permanent workers, but in reality they are not the permanent migrants. They are the permanent migrants. And in the host state where they work, they are not respected at all, because there are various issues which the host state feels with respect to migrant workers. There is anti-migrant agencies. There are people who there are native people who don't like the migrants, because they feel they have their own insecurities with respect to that. So this article caters to this issue. And also this article talks about, let's leave this aside, we understood that they are getting disenfranchised from the electoral rolls, from the elections, from the democracy. But at the same time, there are various issues too which they unfortunately face. What are these issues? For example, they face, first of all, they have very less education level. They don't have that education level which they should which is supposed, which we believe that they should have. Their literacy rate is very low. So the issues are, the issues which they face. First, they are their education level is very low, but at the same time, they go through the burden of administrative barriers. They go through the digital illiteracy, and also the social exclusion. They face the social exclusion. So these are the various issues which are highlighted in the article, and then eventually the author talks about that how this issue can be catered. For one of the solution for this is that wherever the migrant citizen is, wherever the migrant worker is, he should be given the right to vote in that particular state. Wherever he is, he should be able to vote there. Which state he is getting benefited from, he should be given this right, because at the end we are the citizens of our country. So this system should be there. This article talks about that issue. So with respect to this, let us see what are the key points. I hope you are very much you got the summary of the article. Now let's have a look at the key points which are in the article, and then let's move to the type of question which can be asked from it. Here, first it talks about the mass disenfranchisement, which we had discussed. A special intensive revision of electoral rolls in Bihar has resulted in the deletion of approximately 3.5 million migrant voters, which we discussed. The sedentary citizen problem. The issue is the sedentary citizen problem, which is India's current electoral infrastructure is designed around a voter who is always at the place of residence. The model fails to account for the reality of circular and split family migration. So that we also discussed. Then also the triple burden faced by these migrant workers, face a triple burden of administrative barrier, lack of documentation, digital illiteracy. They have the digital illiteracy, and then the social exclusion, which prevents them from registering to vote in their destination states. So these are the issues. Then what is the political exclusion? Migrants are often viewed with suspicion in host states, where fears of altered electoral outcomes discourage their enfranchisement. This leaves them disenfranchised at both ends. Then lack of portability. The article uses the low uptake of the One Nation, One Ration Card scheme among Biharis migrants as an example of their reluctance to transfer origin-based documents, including voter IDs, for fear of losing entitlements. Then what is the way forward? The author calls for a portable voter identity system and for the Election Commission of India to implement a cross-verification model between states to prevent the mass deletion of migrant voters. So this is what was given in the article. This is what is important for you, and this is what is relevant for your exam. So with respect to this, I hope you would, if you are watching this video right now, please do note down this, or do take the screenshot of it, or if you are not ready to do either of the two things, then do mail me. I will definitely send you the document. I will send you the PPT, this PPT to you guys. So please do follow it. And if you want to get my mail ID, for that you can search in the bio of this video. Now with respect to this, let's see what kind of question can be asked in the exam. Here the question may be asked in this way, and it will also help you to revise the article. It says that in the context of voter disenfranchisement, what is the primary challenge faced by a large number of India's internal migrant workers? First, the lack of voter IDs for a majority of migrant workers. This can be the issue, but it is not the basic problem. So this is incorrect. Then an electoral system designed for a sedentary citizens that does not account for their mobility. That is exactly what this article, and what is the exact issue with respect to the migrant workers. Then third, legal restrictions that prevent them from registering to vote in their destination states. That is not such a big problem, even though it can be the problem, but not that big problem. The fear of losing their jobs, that's not also that issue. So the major issue, the primary issue is this: an electoral system designed for a sedentary citizen that does not account for their mobility. So with this, I hope you had understood the article. It is very important article for you. It may be important for your mains perspective. If any question would be asked with respect to the migrant workers, then this information can be very much relevant for your exam too. So what you should do, I would advise you to take these notes, or if you can't do so, then mail me. I would definitely send you the PPT of this video. And also here I would like to take a minute to give the brief introduction about this initiative, which we had started from 2nd June 2025. Under this initiative, every day we had promised you that we will upload 2 videos. One in the morning session where we will discuss the current affairs. Second in the evening session where we will discuss the static syllabus. Here in the morning session, which is this video, we discuss the news analysis. We help you to relate these articles with respect to your prelims preparation as well as mains preparation, and we break these articles down, and also we try to frame the possible prelims or mains questions from these articles. Then we have the static part. Here we had promised you that by the month of January 2026 we will complete your full syllabus, whatever would be required, but only exception is that we are not going to cover your optional subjects. And here we started with Indian polity, which we had already completed. We discussed it then after Indian polity, governance completed. Now we are discussing the history, and in history we started with ancient Indian history, and already we had completed 5 lectures of ancient Indian history. Today we are going to discuss the 6th lecture. And here also I had told you it is not only the lectures which are enough for you. You need something to read from. If you have books, that is good. If you want to read from my notes, that's also fine. So for you guys, we are preparing the notes. We had already prepared notes for Indian polity and governance. The comprehensive book, I would say, comprehensive book, or I would say the comprehensive encyclopedia for the Indian polity and governance. No topic would be missing there. Everything what is required for you to clear the exam, that would be there. If you want to get access to it, what you have to do, mail us on our mail ID, which would be given in the bio, and then you would be told to pay only 200 rupees. And trust me, it would be worth spending, because this book is so comprehensively written. And trust me on that, if I would had sold it in different way, it would had costed more than 800 rupees, but for you guys I had promised you it would be only 200, so it is 200. And one important thing about this book is that after every topic there you will find the possible prelims as well as mains question. So it will contain both prelims and mains practice questions. If you want to get access to it, please do mail us, and do help us and do appreciate us in our work. So with this is the initiative. If you want to be part of it, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now without any delay, let's move to the another article and let's have a look at it, what it is about. Well, this article is about the Uttarakhand Assembly clears amendments to UCC anti-conversion bills. So they had passed certain laws, Uttarakhand Assembly. But the main question which you should ask me that, sir, why to discuss Uttarakhand Assembly here? We are preparing for UPSC. We are not preparing for Uttarakhand's State Civil Service Exam or PSC. We are preparing for UPSC. What is the need? Why we are actually discussing it? The reason for that is that it is not about the Uttarakhand's Assembly. It is because of this word, which is the Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code. And this Uniform Civil Code makes this topic important for us. They are the first state after Goa which had brought up their own uniform. After Goa, this is the first state which has brought up their own Uniform Civil Code. So with respect to this, it becomes eventually important for us to look into what are the changes they are bringing in, because eventually, this would be the model Uniform Civil Code, which on this basis, maybe tomorrow or maybe years after, we are going to go for the Uniform Civil Code. Maybe at that time, this would be the model UCC from which we will draw many things. So definitely it is important for us, and Uniform Civil Code is always important for UPSC aspirants, because questions would be asked with respect to it, maybe with respect to prelims exam, with respect to DPSPs, or maybe with respect to mains exam, where you will be asked to compare how Uniform Civil Code is the necessity right now, or how it should be ignored totally, whatever the question would be. So that's why we are discussing this here. So with respect to this, the Uttarakhand government, they had brought various laws, various amendments to the Uniform Civil Code, and we have to look into what are these amendments. We have to take care of. Basically, Uttarakhand Assembly passed 9 key bills, which is not important for us. The news itself is not important for us, but what it included amendment to State's Uniform Civil Code, a new bill on unlawful religious conversion, first amendment to Uniform Civil Code, a new bill on unlawful religious conversion, and a bill on minority education. So these are the 3 controversial bills which we have to look into. Under the Uniform Civil Code, what changes they brought in? The new legislation included stricter penalties for whom it included stricter penalties for the religious conversions. Earlier, it used to be 3 to 10 years if you are forcing anybody to convert. Now it would be 3 to lifetime. So the maximum penalty has been increased, and also it deals with whom? With live-in relationships. It has imposed some penalties on them too, and also it has increased the time period for the registration of marriage from 6 months to 1 year. So these are the key points which are in the article, which you have to note down. Why we are discussing this? Even though Uttarakhand Assembly is not important what is happening there for us, but when our Uniform Civil Code would be there, it would automatically become important for UPSC aspirant. Now, without any delay, let's have a look at some key points which were in it and which you should note, or as I told you, mail me, I would send you the PPT of it. So first, it talks about legislation passed. The Uttarakhand Assembly cleared 9 bills in its monsoon session, including the key amendments to the Uniform Civil Code, Annual Religious Conversion Bill, and the Minority Education Bill. What is the stricter conversion penalties? The Freedom of Religion and Prohibition of Unlawful Conversions Bill 2025 now mandates jail term from 3 years to life for forced conversion. It also defines allurement broadly. Then changes to Uniform Civil Code. Amendments to the Uniform Civil Code include increasing the punishment for those in illegal live-in relationships who are not registered. If they are living in a relationship and they have not registered it, then it would be illegal live-in relationship, and extending the marriage registration period from 6 months to 1 year. Then third, what was the controversial part? Minority Education Bill. This bill mandates that the madrasas must seek affiliation with the state's education board and apply for minority states. Unrecognized madrasas will be shut down, till the time period is 1st July 2026, I guess. It would be the time period. Till this time period, they have to register themselves with the state government. They have to register themselves with the state's education board. Otherwise, it would be, those madrasas would be shut down. So these are the changes which this bill has brought in, which you have to know, which can be relevant for your exam. So with respect to this, let's move to the another slide and see what is given here. Well, it talks about the Global Solar Alliance plans to establish research hub in India. Global Solar Alliance, as it says, plans to establish the research hub in India. So with respect to this, we know that International Solar Alliance, it was established, it was basically co-founded by India and France on the sidelines of the Paris climate, Paris Agreement in 2015. So it was formed on that sideline. So with respect to this, the aim of this International Solar Alliance is that to increase the usage of the solar energy throughout the world. And with respect to this, with respect to this article, what it actually talks about, it is basically in this article, the International Solar Alliance is planning a major global expansion of its capabilities. By the end of the year, it will establish 17 centers of excellence in various countries. So what it is going to do, it will establish 17 centers of excellence in various countries to provide testing, startups, and training ecosystems for solar energy. Then it also talks about the building on the networks. With respect to International Solar Alliance, it will create a global capability center. It will create global capability center in India, which is envisioned as a Silicon Valley for solar, which will be envisioned as a Silicon Valley for solar, which is this global capability center in India, which will be envisioned as the Silicon Valley for solar, to act as a central hub. It will act as a central hub. So this is what this article talks about. Then it talks about the International Solar Alliance. It is the collaborative body founded by India and France at the 2015 Paris Climate Conference, and it is headquartered in India, Gurugram, and right now what is the solar capability of India? It is more than 100 gigabytes. So this is what this article is basically talking about. Now let's have a look at the key points which are important for you. First, global expansion. The International Solar Alliance plans to establish 17 centers of excellence in different countries. These centers will focus on training and building a startup ecosystem for solar energy. That's true. We discussed Silicon Valley for solar. A global capability centers will be set up in India to serve as a central hub, connecting and coordinating the global networks of centers. Also, we discussed it. Then India's leadership. The initiative highlights India's growing role in the global solar sector, with other countries looking to Indian engineers for vital human capital and expertise in the implementation. So, in implementing solar projects, then International Solar Alliance Foundation, the organization was conceptualized by India and France on the sidelines of the 2015 Paris Climate Conference COP21. Then, what is the current status? The ISA is headquartered in Gurugram, Haryana, and has a membership of over 100 countries. India's installed solar capacity reached 119 gigawatts as of July 2025. So these are some data points which you need to know, which you need to write down, which you need to revise every day. So with respect to this, let's see what kind of question can be asked. Here the question says, which of the following statements about the International Solar Alliance are correct regarding the article? First, the International Solar Alliance was established by the G20 countries. Totally incorrect. The proposed Global Capability Center will be established in France. This is also incorrect. The ISA aims to set up 17 centers of excellence by the end of the year. That is correct. Fourth, India's installed solar capacity as of July 2025 was less than 100 gigawatt. That's also incorrect because it is more than 100 gigawatt, 100 gigawatt, 119 gigawatt, which we had discussed. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement C only. With this, let's move to the another article and see what is given in here. Well, here the article, it talks about India successfully tested fires Agni 5 intermediate range ballistic missile. Well, it is the intermediate range ballistic missile. Its range should have been from 3000 to 3000 to 5000. It should have been ideally it should have been its range, but to 5500. Well, it's the distance it does cover is 5000 kilometers. The distance it can cover is 5000 kilometers. Because of it, it is also called as, it is the intercontinental ballistic missile. It is the intercontinental ballistic missile. And also with respect to this, one more important thing about it is that this weapon or this missile, it has the capacity of it has the multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle. It acts as the independently targetable re-entry vehicle. So it allowing single missile to strike multiple times. So it has this technology, and it was tested that it allows the single missile to target many to strike multiple targets. So with respect to this, India has officially successfully test fired Agni 5 intermediate range ballistic missile. So with respect to this, let's have a look at the key points what are given in here. First, it talks about the successful test fire. India's Agni 5 missile was successfully test fired from Chandipur, Odisha on August 20. Then what is the user trial? The test was a routine user trial conducted by the Strategic Forces Command. It was conducted by the Strategic Forces Command to ensure the system's readiness. What are the key features? The Agni 5 is an intermediate range ballistic missile with an extended range that classifies it as an ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. It has a strike range of over 5000 kilometers. So that's why it is also called as intercontinental ballistic missile. Then it has the MIRV technology. The missile's previous test on March 11, 2024 validated its ability to use MIRV technology, which allows it to deliver multiple nuclear warheads to different targets with a single launch. Then it is indigenously developed. The missile was designed and developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization, which is Dordo, underscoring India's self-reliance in missile technology. So with respect to this, I hope you will note down these points, and this is what is important for your exam. So with this, let's see what kind of question can be asked in the exam. Here the question says, with reference to the Agni 5 missile, consider the following statement. First, the recent test was conducted by the Defense Research. No, it was not conducted by the Defense Research and Development Organization, but it was conducted, the test was conducted by the Strategic Force Command. So first statement becomes incorrect. Even though it is developed by DRDO. The missile's range of 500 km classifies it exclusively as an intermediate range ballistic missile. It is intermediate range ballistic missile, but at the same time it is also considered intercontinental ballistic missile. So it is not exclusively as an intermediate ballistic missile. So it is also incorrect. Then third statement, the Agni 5 is India's first missile to be equipped with the multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle technology. Well, it is the Agni 5 is the first missile which has test driven it. So with respect to this, we can mark it correct. So with this, the correct option is option 3 only. Now let's move to the another article and see what is given in here. Well, the article here talks about the core sector growth slows to 2% in July as fossil fuels contract. So the coal sector growth, it has slowed to 2%. There has been a dip with respect to the core sector growth. So with respect to this, let's understand it through the key points. Here the overall slowdown, the index of 8 core industries grew by only 2% in July 2025. So there is only 2.2% growth in the July 2025, which is a considerable slowdown from 3.6.3% in the same month last year. So definitely there is slowdown. What the growth which was in 2024 July, it was 6.3%. Now it has increased. It has decreased to 2% only. Then what is the reason for that? The reason is fossil fuel contraction. Production in the coal, crude oil and natural gas sectors all declined. Their production has declined. Coal saw the steepest contraction at minus 12.3%. So there is the contraction in the fossil fuels, and because of that we are seeing that there is dip in the core sector. Then what is the contrasting growth? The steel and cement industries showed robust growth. This steel industry and the cement industry, they had showed the robust growth with increase of 12.8% and 11.7% respectively, reflecting strong demand from the infrastructure and the construction projects. Then what are the key indicators? The 8 core industries indicators are coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement and electricity account for over 40% of the weight in the index of the industrial production, making their performance a critical indicator for the economy's growth. So why this article is important for you? A direct question from the prelims perspective cannot be asked, like what was the growth rate with respect to the month of July or June. So such questions won't be asked, but what can be asked is the trend. Trend, that is important, whether it is increasing, whether it is decreasing, whether it is slowing down or whether it is moving fast, that is important for you. So with this, let's move to the last article here. Basically a picture where the students of Srinivasa University campus at Pandeshwaram, Mangaluru performing a tiger dance as part of the celebration for the Onam and Krishna Janmashtami on Wednesday. So this is the picture. So with respect to this, what can be asked in the exam is basically about the Onam. So here the question says, with reference to the festival of Onam, consider the following statements. First, it is a harvest festival celebrated in the state of Kerala. Correct. It is a celebration. It is celebrated to commemorate the victory of celestial king over a demon. No, it is the homecoming of a king. So second statement is incorrect. Third, the festival is known for Valammikali or the snake board races. That's also true. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. With this, we had completed our today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day, and please do subscribe it. This initiative is for you guys. Thank you.